so hard for people to quit their job. If you left today, your company would move on without you. We are heading into a new decade, a new season for you to evaluate your career and take the steps needed to advance strategically. And it all starts with determining whether you should quit your job. This is one episode of a 10-part series called Should I Quit My Job that will take you through evaluating yourself, managing external impacts on your career, evaluating your current reality, and creating a plan to move forward. My name is Julia, and I am the career strategist behind the Ride the Tide Collective podcast, where we equip ambitious professionals to strategize and take action to advance their career. Welcome to episode 5. Are you the problem? Let's be real. Sometimes we are the problem, and the ability to identify that within ourselves and own it is hard. But if you don't identify it and you don't own it, you will continue to be in situations at work and probably in life where you aren't getting ahead or connecting the way you would like. In one of my previous roles, I was extremely stressed. I had high anxiety, and looking back, I was probably depressed. Because of this, I became a different person. I was someone who complained and was frustrated all the time. I actually had a coworker ask me to stop complaining to them because it was bringing them down. Ugh. That was a sobering moment for me because I confided in that person, and it also made me realize how bad things had become. Hindsight, I definitely should have been in therapy, but at that time, I didn't realize how bad it actually was until I got out. I spent time reflecting on my behavior and actions, and I realized that I was this crazy anxiety-ridden person with those I was comfortable with and in relationship with at the time. I had a few mentors, my coworker, my husband. All these people saw the worst of me. My clients and direct reports, however, did not. I wanted to shield most of them from the stress and doubt I felt on a daily basis. It's important to note that I was in a toxic environment with toxic leadership that brought these behaviors out in me. Once I moved on from this particular role into a new environment with a supportive leader, my anxiety and stress around my job subsided significantly. I realize how this makes me look, and some of you might be silently judging my reactions, my feelings, or my decisions on how I managed or truly didn't manage myself during this time, and that's okay. My hope is that you can recognize your own reactions and bias toward my situation. Maybe you know someone like me and are frustrated with them, in which case I would ask that you have empathy and find a way to speak truth into their lives and support them. If you listen to this and think that this is you, congratulations for recognizing your own behavior. Now the real work begins. I want to go back and explain my decision to shield my direct reports from my anxiety. I'm sure there are some of you that don't agree with my decision to hide my stress and anxiety from them, but one of my management beliefs is that while you should have a good relationship with your team, getting too close can blur the lines too much and be hard to reverse if needed. As a manager, my team didn't need to know my stress. Most of them knew something was going on, but I didn't confide in them because, frankly, it wasn't appropriate. I came up in an industry where coworkers and teams usually had unhealthy relationships and a severe lack of boundaries, my situation being no exception. With my staff, I used my situation to provide examples, ask good questions, and help them navigate difficult office political situations. Some of them were in similar situations with our leadership, and I was able to help them navigate it because I had already been through it. As for my coworker, we found a middle ground of being able to talk about our frustrations in a healthy way. In reality, it was the intense language I used in describing situations that really put him off. I adjusted my conversations to be more about analyzing the situation and finding solutions to move forward instead of complaining all the time. At this point in my career, I was definitely the problem. But that's not an excuse. I owned my behavior and moved forward in my career more knowledgeable about my own triggers and frustrations. As you know, I like questions. I believe that questions help you, the listener, engage and identify with the content. Remember, we're about action here, and asking good questions helps you identify, analyze, and act. In the situation I just described, there are multiple questions I want you to ask yourself to determine if you are the problem. The first question, do people like you? Let's be honest. You know if people like you, and you know what kinds of people you attract into your circle. I learned very young that not everyone is going to like me, and I'm okay with that. I have a direct personality that doesn't work for everyone. But the people who stick around learn that I am the most loyal friend and coach when you can get past my directness. Examine the people in your circle now. What kind of personality do they have? Are they similar to you? Are they different? Once you understand the type of person who tends to like you, you can direct your efforts in the workplace to finding people who fit with your personality best. The second question, do people come to you for advice? Not just advice about their specific job and how to do it, but advice about how to manage situations, advice about life, or maybe they want your opinion because of how you think through situations. If people aren't coming to you for advice, you need to start asking yourself why. What do you have to offer? Have you made it known to them? So why does it matter if people at work come to you for advice? Well, if you want to move up or out, you want people to remember you. You want them to think of you when it comes to a certain topic. For example, I am known for my ability to build systems and provide unbiased and unemotional opinions about career and life situations. This is why people seek my advice. I have learned to find work environments and managers who appreciate these attributes I bring instead of trying to make people understand who I am or force my strengths into a culture that doesn't care. The third question to consider, are you a go-to person? This is different from being able to give advice. This is about skill set. Do you have a skill set that stands out? Do people come to you because you have a skill they want or need and need help? If you don't have a skill set others need, you are expendable. This is how people lose their jobs, especially when times are tough. When I say, are you the problem? It's not just about your attitude and whether people like you. It's about the value you bring to your position. Do you care? If you don't, you need to rethink this position or possibly this career path. And finally, do you have friends at work? People who have friends at work are seen as more engaged. Friends also provide a support system for tough situations, as well as people who can be advocates for you when you aren't around. If you have friends at work and they aren't going to bat for you when it counts, that is a red flag to find out why. Sometimes our friends love us and want what's best for us, but they know too much to recommend us for an opportunity. These are the moments you want to dig deep within yourself and with your friends to figure out what the barrier is, if one exists. If you don't have friends at work, why not? I know some personalities prefer to be insular, and some people in general just don't like to be friends with coworkers for multiple reasons. That's completely fine, unless you're trying to make career moves. If you are fine where you are and you have no desire to move up or out, making friends isn't necessary. But you still need to consider what you are bringing to the table. Are you expendable? These questions are all about diving deep into who you are and how others perceive you. Should you care about what others think of you? Yes and no. Ultimately, I don't care what people think of me, as long as I am a nice person and a good human. Outside of that, it's all preference. However, if you want to succeed in your career, if you want to advance, if you want to leave and start in a new career, if you want to make any moves in your career, you need to care a little bit about how others see you. Perception is everything.